Welcome everybody to DC Domingo. It's Sunday or Domingo if you speak Spanish. We got another podcast to go, and I am experiencing some throat issues, so I will be keeping it short and sweet, kind of legit. But we have a lot of stuff to cover. Mainly because I wanted to just do like reaction for the Justice League trailer, and there's a lot of excitement going on television as well, so it's not cool to just neglect that. And then also the blogosphere with Twitter and stuff like that. So what you're seeing right now, it's my cartoon. I draw comics, and it's my cartoon of Jason Momoa being pretty damn badass. Now, one of the things that I wanted to touch first is that Clay Enos, he is the official photographer for DC, movies. He kind of mentioned something on Twitter about hey, be patient. Don't bother Zack Snyder about when the trailer is going to release, and he was right. There is a plan. The trailer was released, and we were all, pretty much happy for it. And he's right. We have people who take anything that these people say and turn it against them, like Cosmic Book News. I am boycotting them as an independent comic book creator. I think that kind of garbage doesn't belong in our in our group of creators. That kind of yellow press, it's kind of a shameful, just to get a bunch of clickbaits. So congrats to Clay Enos. They've done a great stuff with the trailer. Now, other thing that we do cover over here, it's we're not going to cover what Collider says anymore. They reported that a particular director was interested in doing a sequel to Superman, but they suck. I don't believe their news anymore. This shot over here, they're spewing garbage, and then all of a sudden, Ben Affleck kind of put them in their place. It's like, hey, welcome to the Batcave, even though they were speculating that Matt Reeves was gonna, direct, but Ben Affleck wasn't into it. And who can blame, the media for being stupid? I mean, here's my post. Collider is trying to be nice about it, and then, some of their fan base are equally as stupid. So, for instance, this guy criticizes Batman for wearing goggles, and look at his picture. He's wearing shades indoors, and the fan base for Collider is kind of very hypocritical. A big shout out to Connor from DC Comics on Facebook. DC United, I think it's the website. Anyways, he posted this comparison of the new Black Panther movie, pretty much ripping off Batman on top of the Joker's car, except there's no style. There's no Joker or Harley or Batman, so we don't really care, right? Next thing on the agenda, I want to give a big shout out to J-Roar. He's like a giant DC guy. Go see his last reaction for the Justice League trailer. He did an amazing breakdown. So what I'm going to do for the trailer, I think I'm just going to do a quick comment and, maybe do a review of the DC movies thus far, including the trailer. That way, I stand out and not do a analysis like everybody on YouTube. Big shout out to Superhero Spot. They've been added on Twitter, putting people in their place. So big shout out to them. Go ahead and follow them on Twitter. The next image we have comes from Patty Jenkins. She retweeted this lady named Nicole. And Phil Jimenez, who I also follow, he's an artist. He worked on many DC comic projects, and he's famous in the LGBT community and the Latino community, so he's an awesome guy. Follow him. And the post goes as follows. There were these old ladies in the movie Fences, and they were slowly making their way up the escalators, and one of them says, I hope I live until summer. Now, these are very, very old ladies, they're hardly making it upstairs as they go. And then somebody goes why? And then she replies, is it because your granddaughter is getting married? And then she replied, no, because I want to go see the Wonder Woman movie. Now, this is the Wonder Woman director, who has sent this. And that's why we care, because it's not just about us, the fanboys, it's about everybody else. Some of these movies have a much bigger influence than our comics. So one of the reasons why DC stands out is because these characters are mythic and appeal to a much larger audience than, marketed franchises. Now, the last shot over here that I want to give you guys something to ponder is that they want to have DC Comics have a second movie for next year. David Ayer, who did Suicide Squad, posted this picture not too long ago of the gangster Black Mask. Now, if Warner Brothers is gonna go ahead and do Gotham City Sirens with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, they would also be casting Catwoman and Poison Ivy. It's a female-led project, and Ayer is directing and writing. So, and Robbie is producing it. So it's gonna be awesome. I think that's going to be the next movie they're going to be doing for next year. Now that I can about catch us up on Twitter, we're going to move on to the TV. And we have spoilers if you haven't been caught up. But these spoilers are meant to make you go and watch the show. I will be... Usually when I post this kind of stuff, I post like episodes that have been airing for the past 2 weeks. And the latest episodes, I don't really go that much into detail. I just kind of go, hey, this amazing thing happened. That was not in any way a spoiler to the story, but it just impacted me, so far. We're going to start off with Legends. Now, as you see from this shot over here, originally the JSA was tasked by Rip Hunter to hide the Spear of Destiny. And, they hit it throughout history. Rip Hunter was abducted by by the bad guys and was brainwashed. Recently, they had an amazing show where this beautiful shot, this is inside his ship, but because he lives in his mind, inside of his mind is basically the ship. So he is the captain and he lives in his ship. It's a wonderful shot that I thought of Rip Hunter being confronted with him no longer being the captain and White Canary being the leader of the Legends. The Legends have traveled to Camelot. They've gone all the way back to a time when dinosaurs roamed, and they've gone even to, during this space race, even to the moon. Now, the latest episode showed them in World War One, actually, not two, where Mr. Tolkien, the creator of Lord of the Rings, served, and they had a nice, subplot going with historical references, and there was a wonderful speech given that is actually taken from the Lord of the Rings books, and it really caught me by surprise because, having this writer Tolkien serve in the First Great War, and using these superheroes from DC Comics to kind of have a voiceover to narrate some of those passages and have the soldiers from both sides kind of be at a standstill. It's pretty powerful. You don't really get to see that a lot in TV shows, and again, Legends has some pretty strong episodes, and even at their weakest, they're pretty damn entertaining. Now we're gonna move on to the Flash. Flash has been battling Savitar, the god of speed, as he calls himself. Many people have wondered who this person is, because this villain lives inside an armored suit. People speculate that it's evil version of Flash himself from the future. Who knows? The plot is basically we're trying to save Iris West from a possible future. They've been trying to alternate some events. They even got both of the speedsters to run faster, Kid Flash and Jesse Quick. So it's been pretty cool. However, if you remember, how Barry Allen changed the timelines, he's been paying for it. And this is the first episode where something happened to someone that he really cares for. And, we were seeing the consequences of him alternating the timeline. Something that, season 1 Flash wouldn't have done. And it's great. It's great to see the consequences. We have a nice little showdown between Savitar and Barry Allen in this warehouse. And I believe we've seen this warehouse before. I'm not sure which episode it was, but we've seen it in season 2, I believe. Now, over here, some of the latest episodes. He needs to travel inside the Speed Force itself. Yet again, the first time that happened, Kevin Smith directed the episode. And you can see some of the doubt over here between Iris and Barry. Within the episode, Barry was confronted with his demons. One set demon is the Black Rider. It was a very, very impressive shot over here that we got from the internet. And last but not least, we have Jake Garrick kind of giving Barry Allen a pep talk. Now, where they're going to go, the latest Flash episode is a musical. I didn't get a chance to see it. I'm not very fond of musicals. But there is a new episode of Flash on Tuesday. So I'm going to do back-to-back. So even if, I don't like the musical part of it, I'm still going to have another episode to review. So far, Flash, it's been pretty dark. Not as dark as the second season, or as hopeful as the first season. It's just been more steady progress. And since they're not going to be... They've said that there's not going to be a speedster villain in the next season. I'm very much intrigued where they're going, because I can't really say if it's a successful season or experimental season. So far, I have yet to see a really bad episode. So like I said, even at their weakest, they're pulling in big numbers, big ratings, and I keep being impressed with their special effects. Legends and Flash. I'm like, I'll be damned. Living in a golden age of great TV shows. I mean, even Archie's cool. All right, so we're moving on to Supergirl. And last time we left off, there was a teaser, a giant spaceship looming. We didn't know who these creatures were. They have a nice little homage to Men of Steel. Where Zod arrives to Earth and, he kind of hijacks all the media, You're Not Alone. It turns out to be Mon-El's parents, played by, the Adventures of Superman and Lois, Terry Hatchett, and then TV's Hercules also. And it's kind of nice. It's nice to see them both back on television. We learned... a little bit more about Daxam and what went down over there. And one of their pyramids looked a lot like it's like a cross between Egyptian and Aztec, a cross between Blade Runner and Game of Thrones. It's kind of distinctive. I am always impressed with their, special effects. It seems that once they moved Supergirl to the CW, they either had more budget for special effects, or the special effects houses that are working on this have more talent. Because I've been extremely impressed. The other thing that happened in this episode is that Toyman Jr. Has a little conflict with his girlfriend, Alien, running away from a bunch of kidnappers. And this actress, I didn't actually recognize her But she is actually a very talented writer and director. She started in one small episode of Game of Thrones, and her character's name is Lyra, kind of a homage to the Golden Compass. Anyways, I will, check out the short films that she's done and get back to you guys there. I'm glad they're promoting, indie talent in the show. There's a hard decision between Supergirl and Monel. Again, I won't go into it. You should check out the episode. And we end the episode in another cliffhanger. And I really like the shot of, the agents. There seems to be a nice unity among, the blue coats upstairs, who are the engineers, and the field operatives on the bottom. I really liked it. And again, we have a new episode of Supergirl on Monday, and that's where we're at. So far, like I said, I've been amazed with Supergirl, Legends, and Flash. Now we're going to get to Arrow, and my God, this is something that I was not expecting. Arrow has been, season 1 was pretty solid. Season 2 surprised everybody, and that's where it started to take off into mainstream. After season 2, they greenlight the Flash, and so forth and so forth. Season 3 took a slow turn with Ra's al Ghul, and season 4 they started to get things back up and running with Damien Dark. This particular season, they've been trying something completely new, which is to end the flashback sequences, because it's 5 years from right now, 5 years ago. So this is the 5th season. Logic tells us they're ending that part of the show. Well, that has given them a wonderful tool to introduce snippets of what's to come. So, for instance, Felicity, she had her, college goth days where she was a hacktivist. She's been contacted by this organization called Helix, which is kind of like DedSec from Watch Dogs, the video game. Or, if you watch, Mr. Robot, F Society. So hacktivists are trying to seduce Felicity into being like a hacktivist. Pretty cool stuff. Now, they've also been dealing with the ramifications of Season 3, which is dealing with Ra's al Ghul, and we have Talia al Ghul in the flashbacks. Now, one of the things that I liked is that there was some levity. They introduced a reporter, that was kind of dating Arrow on and off, and he seemed to be really happy. So when we saw, the bad guy reveal, which I won't spoil for you, it was kind of a surprise that the reveal was done the way it was. We expected the reveal to be at the mid-season finale or the season opener, but no, it was just a random episode. A lot of people were pissed, but if you see this episode, the latest episode, you know why. The reveal, it's not important. Who he is, it's not really important. What's really important is like how messed up he is messing up with Arrow. It's kind of like it doesn't matter how the Joker was created. It doesn't matter who the Joker's name is, but the effect that it has on our hero. And so far it's been kind of devastating. Arrow has a new Black Canary. He has a team building up with a Wild Dog, and also Mr. Terrific finally has those spheres that he uses his technology to break into computers, use explosions, multiple things. So he's trying to build his life. Within the flashback, we got to see Dolph Lundgren, who was an icon of the 80s. He was the original Punisher of the movie. He was also in Rocky. He was on, the very recent Stallone film. This, what the hell is it? Disposables? Expendables. There we go. So yeah, we get to see him. There's a giant plot line going with him. And we see, pre-season 1 Arrow, which, it showed the original season of Arrow. He killed lots of people, and we're back to that dark stuff. Now, a lot of people were complaining that Arrow lost its edge, that Netflix Daredevil was more edgy. This past episode, this particular scene, that kind of shut them up. This is one of the most gruesomest things that, the Hood, not Green Arrow, but the Hood did. And it puts, Daredevil and Netflix on check. It's like, okay, top that. I thought it was pretty damn disturbing. I don't know how foreign markets are going to deal with that. And, in the present day, Oliver is being tortured, but he's not, in the way that, physical torture is more like psychological torture. At the very end of the episode, it's not a big spoiler, but he makes a giant decision. And, we don't know where they're going with this. And that to me is exciting. Stephen Amell tweeted this not that long ago. 1, he has not read the season finale. And 2, if properly executed, it might be the best episode in Arrow's history. What does that mean? We don't know. It could be that they're ending Arrow. It could be that he might retire and be like the mentor of the Teen Titans TV show. Black Lightning could take up his space on the CW, or again, we don't know. And me and a lot of fans have been kind of going, yeah, this looked like a promising good season. Then we changed our tune to like, oh man, it's the best season since the second season. And pretty much as of lately, we're like, oh my god, this might be the best season of Arrow. So the excitement, it caught us so surprised. We thought it was going to be like an okay, but no, it's pretty badass. All right, 22 minutes, and we're good. Now, I am going to discuss the Justice League trailer, but in another video. So I'm just going to show you, what I think so far. It's freaking awesome. I mean, even the haters are loving it. Bandwagon people are back in the wagon. You see there's some iconography here that I can't really wrap my mind around. I have never seen the Flash do this in the comics, where he just points his finger at the floor and boom, takes off. It seems like that should have been in the comic. It seems iconic. That seems like, hey, that should have been in there. Again, we have Wonder Woman, and she's a curator of museum pieces, and you see like, oh my god, we have a Greek goddess, or the Aegean, Themyscira princess, a living one in front of like Greek sculpture. That is amazing. That's brilliant. I'm like, have I seen that in the comics? Because it seems pretty damn original. Over here we have a dichotomy of Cyborg. The red part, it's from the mother box that it was used to make him cybernetic. The blue part is his human consciousness. So here we have a dichotomy, 2 guns, 1 red, 1 blue. Pretty badass. Speaking of badass, I think Aquaman's gonna steal the show. More on that later, but I think one of the reasons why it's working so well, Jason Momoa, he's totally committed to the role, and I don't think anybody's gonna mess with him, quite honestly. And then we have this amazing shot of Batman that was in the teaser, but not in the actual trailer. He's on top of a gargoyle. It made people lose their minds for 24 hours. Again, this shot is from the comics, but not quite. The gargoyle that Batman is on top is a gargoyle of death. Usually it's it's some kind of bird, eagle statue, or another type of gargoyle, but this is pretty macabre. And I'm like, wow, we should have done that in the comics. Now, if you're wondering where Superman was in this entire, trailer, here's a quote, courtesy of Comic Book Debate. Big shout out to those guys. Follow them on Twitter. And this is what Zack Snyder had to say. It's hard to have a Justice League without Superman. That's how I feel about it. It was always a super intriguing concept to me to have this opportunity to have him make that sacrifice, but also have him be this in a weird sort of way. The why of the Justice League. Well, what does that mean? His absence, What do you do with him? What does the team think? What does the world need? All that comes into play. It's fun for us, but it'll be interesting for audiences what we do with him now, according to Zack, when he returns. And it's pretty damn amazing. Like I said in my review of, Batman vs. Superman, it's interesting that we have a sacrifice that makes other heroes come to light. I will have more if, my voice willing. So that's it for DC Domingo. Stay tuned for more. Go ahead and check out my interview with my buddy Nathan. We did almost an hour podcast, and my commentary that 5 or 6 of you have seen so far. Thank you so much. It's 3 hours long. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys here next week. Bye. Oh yeah, DC. Dile sí a DC. Thank you.